Hello class, my name is Amanda Childers. I currently reside in Alaska with my husband who is in the Army. We have 3 children. Today I am going to discuss my thoughts on the National Environmental Policy Act and how I understand it, and a little bit about how I've seen it used. So the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA, is one that we're all really familiar with. Almost every class we've taken up to this point references this act, although I've never actually read the act itself, just the various acts that came about because of this one. So although it was developed and passed in 1969, it was not put into effect until 1970. It was first seen as a guideline, but in 1973, President Carter issued Executive Order Number 55990, which gave the Council of Environmental Quality, CEQ, the authority to issue regulations. One way of thinking of NEPA is to think of it as the Magna Carta of the environmental policy. Most laws tell us what we can and cannot do. This act tells us how we should go about meeting the requirements of the law. The act breaks it down into a process, the procedures of which each federal agency, so the environmental impacts are analyzed so alternatives can be implemented in instances where there will be an impact. There is the Environmental Impact Statement, EIS, which identifies the purpose or need of a project, any alternatives to the proposal, how the proposal will affect the environment, and the environmental consequences of the proposal. The EIS is prepared by the lead agency and utilizes public comment. Then there is the Environmental Assessment, which is a concise public document that provides evidence and analysis to determine if there is a need for EIS. It involves environmental agencies, the applicants, and the public. The agencies determine if there will be an environmental impact and whether it will be significant or not. If it is not, then they determine that no EIS is necessary. If they determine that it is significant, they post notice of intent to prepare an EIS. Then there are times when the proposal is categorically excluded. These categorical exclusions mean that the proposals do not pose a significant danger to the environment or human health. There are many environmental departments of the federal government, and each of these departments holds some of the responsibility of analyzing a proposed action or project and how it might impact the environment. I know that the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, was the agency responsible for analyzing the safety of the Pebble Mine in Alaska, of which they found that there was really no way that what was proposed would ever be safe for the Bristol Bay. They stated that the protective measures proposed are unconventional or novel, and that they were expensive, unproven, and unpractical. As you can see, this act did not directly tell agencies, companies, or people what they're allowed to do or not. It directed a process to determine if what was proposed would be an issue. Until I read this, I didn't know it. It was more of a mandatory guideline for the process of determining an environmental impact.